Hey everyone, my name is Erin and welcome to Everywhere on Earth with Erin travel channel. Today's video is the next bit in my series about Egypt, and it's about a place called Saqqara. Now, that is probably a place most people haven't heard of, but it actually does have some very great historical significance, which I'll tell you about. So if you want to check out my previous video, that was about my visit to the pyramids and to the Sphinx. So after we finish admiring the pyramids and the Sphinx, we get back onto our tour bus and we drive for around 45 minutes to Saqqara. So Saqqara is a large ancient burial site, and it was the necropolis for the old Egyptian capital of Memphis. Now, a necropolis is also otherwise known as a cemetery. So there are numerous pyramids here, as well as the famous step pyramid of Djoser. So now this is actually the oldest stone structure known in history, like in the entire world's history, which is pretty amazing. And it is around 4,700 years old. They also found a lot of animal mummies here, many of them cats, and cats were very important in Egyptian history. They worshipped the cat goddess named Bastet. So we end up starting in the section where there's many old kingdom tombs from the 1st to the 3rd dynasties. Now, most of the tombs are made from mud brick, some from limestone. First, we enter into this tomb of Khagemni, which is the largest in the Teti cemetery where we are right now. And here's some pictures of what's on the walls in the tomb. So Khagemni, he was not a pharaoh, but he was a vizier. I don't know how to pronounce it. I guess I should have learned that before I did the video. So anyways, he looked after gold, he had religious positions, and he was the highest official to serve a pharaoh. So this was enough for him to deserve this massive tomb. So it has many halls and rooms, and the walls are beautiful. They're decorated with scenes of daily life, wildlife, fishing, and I'm finding it very fascinating since this is my very first Egyptian tomb. So it's pretty special and it's pretty cool. Now, after we finish up here, we head over to the Pyramid of King Teti, which is just across from the other tomb. So nowadays it looks more like a small hill, but below the ground is where we explore the chambers of his tomb. And so we go down like a long ramp into the underground area, and there's a hall with 3 chambers. And now at one point the ceiling is so low, and even though I'm short, I actually have to duck down to walk into this area. So one area is the burial chamber containing the sarcophagus. And a sarcophagus is a stone coffin. So there's many of these in Egypt. So the walls of these rooms have inscriptions on them known as the pyramid texts. So it's written in old Egyptian language, and it is actually the oldest known religious text. So that's pretty cool as well. So now we head out of the pyramid, out of the tomb, I guess, of the pyramid, back on the bus, and we just take a short drive over to the main attraction here in Saqqara, which is the step pyramid. Now, to get to the pyramid, we have to walk through the entry hall, and it's a corridor with a lot of columns, as you see here. And then what's kind of interesting is that the columns are carved to imitate bundled plant stems. So if you have a look here, you can maybe tell that that's what it's meant to look like. Here's some more pictures of the entryway. It's really neat. So this pyramid is really large. You can walk a bit closer to it, but I find that it's just the pictures look nicer from far away. Now, the pyramid belongs to Djoser, and he was a pharaoh of the 3rd dynasty. So it was built by the celebrity architect of this time, Imhotep, and he was also Djoser's vizier, or vizier, again, that word. So it's different from the usual pyramids because it has 4 sides and 6 tiers or steps. Underneath the pyramid is a labyrinth of like some really cool chambers and galleries. From what I know, it is closed to the public until the year 2020. So I was there in 2019, so maybe if you go visit in the future, you'll be able to explore the chambers underneath the pyramid. And here I've got some pictures, as you see, of the pyramid. So now at this point, it's late afternoon, we're getting pretty hungry, so it's time for lunch. So we drive over to a place that can handle large groups, and there's already a few different tour groups here. And so we sit at one of the long tables as a group, and they just bring a bunch of food to the table and everybody shares. And so there's grilled beef and chicken and grilled veggies and rice and hummus and pita bread and eggplant and all the typical like Middle Eastern fare, and also stuff that Westerners would like. Basically, I find they do that a lot. And also we have some sweet dates for dessert, which are really yummy. So there's lots of food to go around. Everyone's having a good time. Ryan, as I mentioned before, this boy can eat. So he is loving this. Like every time the food, we get a little bit low, he's like, he casually asks the servers, oh, hey, do you think you could just bring a little more meat? And then little do they know it's all for him. It's not for the table. All the meat is just for him. But that's fine because, I find that if I ever can't eat something, then he's the perfect person to finish off my food for me so it doesn't go to waste. So now we're heading back to the hotel in Cairo. We're not that far away, but the traffic is really, really bad. I don't know if it's just a bad route we took or if it's just like this everywhere at this time. So it took about an hour and we were stuck in the same spot forever. But it was kind of interesting to see regular Cairo life and, how people go about their day. A cute little kitty here that I snapped a shot of. At one point, actually, we witnessed a woman and her car gets sideswiped by a small van. And it's not like a major accident because they're not going fast, but it just ripped off her front bumper. Like we watched it rip it off and it was like, oh, it was cringeworthy. But it just seems like there's not really any rules on the roads and drivers just cut in whenever they can, and it doesn't matter how small the space is. So this is why this happened, this poor girl and her bumper. So when we finally get back to the Oasis Hotel, a few of us girls, we grab a seat by the pool and have some beers. So I'm with Livy and Claudia, and then Brittany joins us. So it's really good to have a chat and get to know these girls a little bit better. Now, when I booked this tour, there were options of how you could get to the next destination of Aswan. And the 12-hour overnight bus ride was included in the cost, or you pay extra and you can upgrade to a 1-hour flight, which I thought, of course, that's worth it, right? So I'm thinking we get back from sightseeing today, head to the airport, then fly to Aswan, get there, relax for the evening, fresh and rested, ready for sightseeing the next day. Well, no. The flight was actually the next morning, like super, super early. So that means that drinks with the girls have to end at a reasonable time tonight, and I go to bed at 9:30, which is nuts to me. And then what's worse is my alarm goes off at 2:30 a.m. This is how early the flight is, which is funny because usually I'm up until this time, not getting up at this time, but as I will discover, this is gonna happen a lot on this trip. A lot of freaking early mornings. It's crazy. And that's it. That is my first day exploring, well, as I mentioned before, the video about the pyramids and the Sphinx, and then this video about Saqqara. So that is my first day in Egypt. It was a day I'll never forget, exploring Saqqara, which I had never heard of it, and the rest of it. So yeah. We're going to end that video right now. Stay tuned for more videos, and of course subscribe to my channel, and excuse me, if you want to read, there you go, check out my blog. It's the same stories basically, but if you prefer reading or rather than listening to me, I'm giving you guys options here. So thank you again for watching, and have a great evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are. Take care.